Hi, it's Kierkegaard Bates here, and I said in the previous video I'd look into self-sovereign identity. Now, what a minefield that has turned out to be. The word sovereign is relatively easy. I mean, it means supreme control over something, both de jure and de facto, i.e. in law and in actuality, and it's the latter that I think we're more concerned about when it comes to self-sovereign identity. But tacking self on the front and identity on the back of that word makes this much more difficult. Identity is something that people have struggled with for millennia, and I went and looked up some of the past philosophical writings of people like Kant, Spinoza, Hume, Locke, Kierkegaard. All those interesting. It doesn't really give you any insight into how to deal with engineering problems related to identity, and all the postmodern and post-structuralist stuff is basically meaningless. It seems to boil down to arguments about how many identities can dance on the head of a pin. It certainly gives no guidance to a computer programmer or a systems engineer. Frege once said that identity gives rise to all sorts of problems that are not altogether easy to answer, and he was only talking about mathematical identity, A equals A, which needs its own axiom. So it's a tricky business. Now, I found a couple of good articles that give you a primer on self-sovereign identity, but the thing that struck me is that when you look at, for example, Thomas Jefferson's contribution to the Declaration of Independence, it's a nice, neat, brief paragraph. We hold these truths to be self-evident, and then stuff about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, with the fact that a government that breaches those should be dismantled and rebuilt. It's all very pithy. When you look at self-sovereign identity, you get 10 commandments, as it were. I can rattle them off now if I can remember. Existence, control, access, transparency, persistence, portability, interoperability, consent, minimalization, and protection. Now, each of those points probably requires its own video to even get started on looking at what they actually mean. So I certainly don't have time to do that in one of these short videos. Anyway, it looks like we're in for a bit of a ride with this topic, so grab a seat and some popcorn, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video soon. Bye for now.